Now, I got to tell you, it's kind of like me. Some 40 years have passed since Phil decided to become something no one, including himself, ever thought he would do, and that was to become a radio talk show host. I can so relate. But all of his personal experiences and a great eye on the markets is why we love to listen to the show every day. Phil Grande, good to have you with us this afternoon.
Well, quite an introduction. I was wondering what you're talking about.
Well, you gave me that big check to take care of you, so I hope I got it right. I'm just kidding.
You did.
Hey, Phil, my friend, I know that you are a deficit watchdog. I know that the whole idea of inflated markets, so I'm going to leave it to you. A lot to talk about in just a few moments. What do you think is the number one concern that people ought to have, even though, hey, paychecks are larger, things are happening, looks like the economy's going? What's the number one thing to keep an eye on here?
Inflation. That's a killer. And the trade deficit is just the most evil debt we could have.
When you talk about inflation, talk a little bit about, was it yesterday or today? Yesterday when the Federal Reserve came out and the 10-year note went up, which means mortgages are going to go up. Talk about that.
Well, what happened was interesting. I called the market crash on January 16th. I've been watching for about 3 months the 10-year yield, because if you're a trader, you got to watch the bond market every day. And so I'm watching the 10-year yield go up, and I finally said, wait a minute, this is crazy, because because if you remember, the last crash, we had a $20 trillion national debt, and when the 10-year yield hit 3.7%, they couldn't handle it. Here we're at 20 trillion instead of 10 trillion, double. So I could just see, and I just sensed it, and I said to everybody on the 16th, I said, look, as soon as we get towards 2.7%, we're going to get a big correction in the market. It's going to be between today, the 16th, or the first 2 weeks of February. So everybody said, well, how'd you do that? Well, because I watched that yield, and the debt is so, I mean, look, let's think about it. Between our trade deficit and the budget deficit. And I also knew that the budget deficit is the problem, because when they gave those tax cuts, I knew no way were they going to stop doing stock buybacks. For not that they're mean or they're evil, it's just that, there's no demand. And if I'm a CEO of a company, a public company, which I was once, if you don't see any demand out there, I'm not going to go and take my money and plow it back into new machinery and equipment and hire people if my products aren't in demand. So it was obvious that we were sold the bill of goods on this tax cut. But at the other, they're giving us a tax cut on one hand, but they're raising taxes with the inflation on the other hand, and that's what happened, and why the market corrected to 2,000 points. Because once that yield started to go up, which is a tax, it was too much, and that's when the market collapsed. And we're not done yet. Everybody says the bottom's in, but it's nowhere near in.
And by the way, if you're just joining us, the very familiar voice, 3 or 4 o'clock hour, is Phil Grande joining me this afternoon. I want to remind you, his website is philsgang.com. That's philsgang.com. And I want to remind you that you need to check it out, because they have a full educational package. They'll work with you every day. They'll get with you every morning. They give you updates through the day. If you want to learn how to, participate in the markets, you want to find out if there's a particular way of trading that might be for you, check out philsgang.com, because they're an excellent resource to get started. Now, when you talk about this trade deficit, quick question, how much, I always talk about how we're mortgaging away our kids, our grandkids, and I guess now we're on the great-grandkids with the way the number is going here. But I saw some horrendous deficits by 2026. We know that the market's going to be stimulated. We know that the businesses are hiring and things are happening. But usually there's offsets. What is your prediction for what's happening with the deficit, as opposed to, is there enough offsets to cover these increases or not? Tell us the straight truth.
No, and what I don't see is, why everybody's saying jobs are going up, wages are increasing, but not fast enough or enough that we're not growing fast enough with the debt that's going up. That's the real problem. So these jobs that we got aren't great jobs. These aren't the high-paying jobs. So I just don't see that. When I hear everybody telling about the wages are great and the economy's coming back and things are strong, I don't see a 3% GDP. Atlanta Fed just dropped. They estimated 5% for 2018. They just pulled it back to 3% the other day. Our big problem is, again, we just don't have. They're not giving us the jobs, the kind of jobs we need, where people can have some disposable income when they finish paying their bills. And that's the real problem. They're not getting overtime. They're not. That's the problem. We're just not growing fast. Our debt is just growing too fast.
Now, Phil Grande, I know that for folks that plug into Phil's Gang, and again, that website is philsgang.com, not only as they listen between 3 or 4 o'clock to get an idea of what's been happening in the markets, but you guys really are up early in the morning for those that want to look at that educational subscription service.
Right.
But I want to shift to maybe a little wider sector of, say, my audience, and that is folks who are either near retirement, in retirement. They haven't been getting much in terms of interest for years on any of their fixed instruments, but at the same time, if you got a 401k or one of these vehicles, how concerned should you be? Should you take some of the profits of the last year and a half, put it safe? What would you tell those folks who are kind of guarding their nest egg?
Yeah, the 401k has become a disaster. The 401k has become a big, what's the word I'm trying to find? But it's like it's a skimming operation. And the problem is the fees are so high on these things. If you get into a spider and where your fees are low, I mean, you're going to make out much better than the fees are the killer. It was a great idea when they started, but it was really never for retirement. It was a tax code that they plugged in some mutual funds, and the only one that really benefited out of this was Wall Street. Went from a cottage industry to what it is today off the backs of these folks with the 401k. Right now, if I had a lot of money and I'm worried about the crash or what I was going to do, I would just simply go to cash, and then I would just invest in the spiders, and it's low cost, and then when at least the spiders, when the market starts going down,
tell us what a spider is. Tell us what a spider is.
Okay, it's a basket of stocks. It's you take the S&P 500, and it's a basket of those stocks, and it trades like one stock. But the beautiful thing, compared to a 401k, when the stock market starts crashing, if you're in the 401k, you can't do anything. You just got to sit there and strap yourself in, and the market goes down. With a spider, you can immediately start making money as it's going down. You short it, and it's easy to do. What you do is buy what they call an inverse, which is not complicated. It's just that you just buy this certain, we'll call it a stock. The symbol is SDS. So as it goes up, the market's going down. And that's what I'd be doing, because to be in 401ks right now, because this market, when it's going to crash, this market, I've never seen such a bubble as this. And the problem is that the more they keep this dollar weak, I'm telling you, the more this dollar is going to, and they're going to make sure they keep a weak dollar. You've got to have that strong dollar to curb that inflation, and you've got to have that strong dollar to keep interest rates low. Our interest rates are soaring. The poor people that are retired, they're not getting any interest. They're getting killed. So I'd be in the spiders, some cash, and wait this out for the next couple of months, because I think the crash, the final one, will be here, as we get towards the end of the summer.
Phil, we got a couple of minutes left before I got a hard break, but when we talk about Phil's Gang, I know that you have been warning your audience for years about a lot of the advice that is out there on the streets, what some of the stock or market or trading pundits tell you. Talk a little bit about that, and then in the time that we have left, just hit briefly when folks go to philsgang.com, how they can look at your educational program, because I'm sure somebody listening today didn't understand all of the concepts we might have thrown out at them.
Well, that's great. Well, let me start with that. One program that we had, because you brought about the retirement, what they should do. We have a program under the umbrella of all our programs called the video stock. And what is that? I will pick 2 or 3 stocks, no more than 3, and then I do a video of it, and then I will address the video 3 times a day during the day. It's like any video you buy, like how to build a fence or plant a flower. It's the same thing. I'll say, okay, let's take GE, and you don't have to know anything about the market. I do it all for you. You just got to, you don't send me the money. You go online and pick an online broker, put your money with. But you take that video, And I go from the beginning of stock to the end of the stock. You haven't got to know anything. You haven't got to know anything about the market, about the economy. Just do exactly what I tell you in that video. And this is perfect for people who just don't have time, Bill. This is so perfect. And it's been one of our most popular products because so many people are just busy. But that's where and we do the spiders in there too as well.
Well, let's do this. I want to tell you, we couldn't at all cover the years of experience. And, of course, both Phil and Marta Grande have been in this business since back in 1999. But I want to tell you, if you want to take charge of your own investments and you want to learn, because this is an educational program, he's not giving you direct stock advice or trading advice. He's just showing you these examples. Go right now to philsgang.com. That's philsgang.com. Check it out. And, of course, catch his show each weekday right here, 3 p.m. on AM 860, AM 930. Both of those are answer stations, and AM 1380 The Biz. And, Phil, I wish I had some more time, but I'm out. Okay. But I thank you so much for spending some time with us.
Well, I thank you. It was a lot of fun.
God bless you, my friend.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Again, that website, philsgang.com. That's philsgang.com. That's philsgang.com. That's philsgang.com.